I don't know if I can share a desk with this guy.
The Schnooze. Take one. I'm Kahi Pacarro, and this is
Rafael Bergstrom. We're here bringing you the first ever episode of the SCHnews, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii's version of the news. We'll talk to scientists, we'll talk to ourselves, we'll talk to volunteers, we'll talk to whoever will listen, basically. But we're going to tell you how it is, and hopefully you learn something by the end of it.
All right, so let's talk about our mission of inspiring local communities to care for our coastlines. So why do we want them to care?
Well, Kahi, I mean, our beaches have become inundated with plastic pollution, whether it's from land, from the sea, and ultimately plastic pollution is a failure in design. So we gotta help rethink that design and stop it before it starts.
Yeah, pollution is the result of failed design.
Yep, and our commercialized culture, our convenience culture, all of it is played into us walking down to the beach and realizing sometimes there might be more plastic than sand beneath us.
Oh, that was pretty much how we started SCH. Like, I looked down at my feet and I didn't see the plastic. And our friends from New Zealand, from Sustainable Coastlines over there, were like, Kahi, are you blind? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, dude, all those little colors, that's plastic. And I was like, what?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's crazy. And what we see on the beaches is a drop in the ocean, quite literally. There are trillions and trillions of pieces of those plastic out in the ocean that...
I heard it's like more than the stars in the galaxy or something like that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's all made out of oil.
Or liquid natural gas.
Fossil fuel.
Fossil fuels.
There we go, to be accurate.
Yeah. So we do beach cleanups.
We do. We bring community together to do beach cleanups.
So why the beach cleanup?
It's one of the best educational tools we have out there. People love the beach. I mean, in Hawaii in general, the ocean is just the way of life for the people here. So our beaches are something that we care deeply about, and we want to figure out ways to protect them.
Yeah, and with cleanups, it's a very reactive solution. Don't we also want to be proactive with what we do?
Absolutely. That's actually the true solution to this, is figuring out the things in our daily lives and the companies that we purchase products from, how they can change away from plastic. Because ultimately our goal is we don't want to be cleaning up beaches for the rest of our lives. We want to go to the beach and have it be clean, and we want to put ourselves out of business.
If all we ever do is clean up beaches, that's all we're ever going to do. So what are you doing at home? Put it down in the comments and let us know what you're doing at home to reduce your use of plastic so they never get in the ocean in the first place.
Kahi, I'm using a tushy.
I should hope so. Yeah. What is it like? What is a tushy?
It's a bidet.
Ah, dude, I'm a little more high class. I use a Toto.
Oh, but hey, it's reducing plastic. I don't buy toilet paper wrapped in plastic anymore.
Right on. So Rafael, why don't you tell us what sets our cleanups up apart from every other cleanup?
We have the most fun, by far. I mean, our cleanups are a giant festival-like atmosphere, live music, games for the keiki, education stations. We really try and make it an experience that people walk away remembering it.
I know of multiple people that have met their significant others at our cleanup, so if you're single, it's a great place too.
SCH is a dating site built in. Yeah, and it's just the atmosphere of having that many people all together. It makes it so that people want to come back and participate, and then what happens? They actually go home and remember what they actually learned at the cleanup, and they start changing things in their life. All right, Kahi, you've been at this for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've found at a beach cleanup?
We're gonna need gloves for this. So let's save my weirdest thing after your weirdest thing.
All right, bring her to me.
Safety first, gloves.
I'd like you to meet Marine Debris Barbie.
Hey.
Guess where she came from?
Maybe River Street?
Straight out of the Alawai.
Oh, we're gonna need gloves for mine. Bring it in. Thank you, Monica.
Kahi, it looks like it's been out there for a while.
It says on here, man meow.
Meow?
I think it makes certain men meow.
Ooh.
Does anybody want to guess what this is? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think this is. This is a suction cup.
Don't let us know if you ever used it.
Let's get these out of here.
And we're back. God, I'm glad we got rid of that stuff.
Why don't you let the people know, like, how much debris we've removed at this point?
Dude, 10 years seems like a long time, and 600,000 pounds of marine debris plastics have come out of the ocean onto our beaches, and we're responsible for cleaning it up.
So can you give people like kind of like a equivalent, like 1 million ostriches or something like that?
I've got just the thing for you. It's actually 300 right whale testicles.
Wait, right whale? Is a left whale's testicle less heavy?
It could be, but in this case, we're actually talking about the right whale, as in the species of whales.
Oh, let's move on from testicles onto more news of stats. How about how many people we've had at our cleanups?
Over 35,000 people have actually come to our cleanups, Kahi. That almost fills Wrigley Field.
How about in something like the Aloha Stadium? Would that fill the Aloha Stadium?
Close to it, two-thirds.
Wow.
Two-thirds of Aloha
So,
Stadium.
in a sense, the entire stadium filled with people. That's how many people have been to our cleanups thus far.
Think Bruno Mars concert.
Right on. Well, the Bruno's Mars concert, like, only 3/4 of it was filled. So maybe that's what it was like.
Maybe. Bruno, do you think you can come to a Sustainable Coastlines beach cleanup someday?
Yeah, Bruno or who else would I want to see? I don't know. I'm really into Nipsey, but Nipsey's gone.
Monica's got a request.
Harry Styles, no thank you. Seems like a really nice guy, but I'm not a big fan of his music. Although I probably know half the words to his songs.
Moving on. How many students have we reached over the years?
We have just reached 40,000 students spoken to.
That's impressive.
I would say so. That's more people being educated in the classroom than actually showed up at our cleanups. And when we first started doing these, we never thought we'd be educating kids in schools.
Why do we change?
Because you can't reach everybody at a beach cleanup.
Whole programs evolved out of that, and kids are actually leading the way in this plastic pollution battle. I think they actually know more than their parents.
Now, Earth Day has been quite the day for us. Not just Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, but organizations all around the state, the world for that matter. But for Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, let's take it to our correspondent in the field to talk about what they were doing at Hunananiho.
Paul, look at this. And this wind, my perm, if you're gonna fluff like that, you're done, okay? We're live? Hey, happy Earth Day, everybody. Sorry about that. We're here at Waimanalo Beach, and we're, as you can see, working hard, cleaning the beaches and removing microplastics from all over the sand, which have come here from all over the world. We're stoked to be here after quarantine. It's been a long time out, and I'm struggling. Back to you guys at the Schnooze desk. We'll see you later.
Kahi, I think they're almost done out there. That's a great piece of field reporting out there. Thank you out in the field, and we are back to the news desk to talk a little bit more about the cleanup.
Yeah, so that guy out there with that beautiful hair, geez, that's some gorgeous hair.
So good.
It's all right. So microplastics are what happens to plastics as it's photodegraded by the sun and breaks up into smaller pieces of its original self. So don't be saying plastics breaks down. Fix your words and say it breaks up. And we need to break up a plastic.
That we do. At this cleanup alone, we cleaned over 100,000 pieces of microplastic out of the sand in maybe a few hundred yards of Waimanalo Beach. Hi, I'm sure everybody out there is interested in what we actually do with all the crap that we pick up at the beach cleanups.
Well, I know that originally the last thing we wanted to do was let it get back into the ocean. So we had to figure out what is our waste stream in Hawaii. And what we found was quite shocking, to say the least. Let's talk about the goods first before you go off and get crazy.
Cool. Yeah, well, there's a lot of awesome stuff that we do with it. Working with
do?
Yeah, we do a lot with the debris, actually. One of the first things we've been doing recently is collecting a lot of data on the debris, sorting it out. We have a whole data team that's been at the beach, and that helps with scientific studies, policy in the future that we can hopefully get rid of some of these plastics.
Yeah. Explain why is data important?
I mean, data tells us a lot of stories, and those stories can be used to inform policy, lets us know how much we're picking up at the beach and what it is.
And has the data shown that there's less debris out on the beaches?
No, there's a lot of debris out on the beaches, and it keeps on coming in. What we're finding with our data is that ultimately we are in a mega problem of plastics. It keeps on increasing over the years. Single-use plastics, fishing debris, all sorts of stuff just keeps coming in and piling up.
So what are we doing with it when we pick it up off the beaches?
So once we sort it out, we'll get some of it over to schools to actually do education with the debris. We'll also help artists make things out of the debris, which helps tell the story to it. The rest of it we have to send to some places that we don't necessarily want it to go, the landfill and H-Power.
Something that the everyday consumer can do. How about just stop using it so that they stop making it? They only make it because we use it.
It's true, Kahi, but let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
How much stuff in the grocery store is made out of plastic? How much choice do you have?
Well, there is not much choice when you go to a grocery store and shop in the middle, but if you go to the edges, you can do a little bit better, you know, and buying in bulk, and also just starting to go to places like the farmer's market, or God forbid, you actually grow a garden and start growing your own food.
Fair, and I think Kahi's onto something. It's all about the consumer choices that we make. We have that ability to really look at everything that we buy, understand where it comes from, where we can do better with each one of those buying choices that we make.
And for years, we've been trying to find another option for this plastics. In early 2012, we were partnering with a company called Method, who took our plastic and created the world's first ocean plastic bottle. And these bottles were all across the United States, selling in Targets everywhere, raising awareness about plastic pollution washing up on our beaches in Hawaii and the opportunity to actually make something from it. They never said it was a solution, but it was actually a great way to raise awareness about plastic pollution in our oceans and the opportunity to do more with our plastics. Well, at this point, we still don't have a great solution. These plastics are extremely hard to recycle. You know, when you think about recycling, plastics recycling is the same equivalent of purgatory. You know, it's like a holding pattern for plastics before it ends up in the environment. Recycling is not an answer to the solution, it's a stopgap measure while we figure out ways to create materials that no longer need to be recycled or can be recycled in an efficient manner in ways like glass or aluminum.
And to put some context to Kahi's comments, less than 9% of the plastic ever made in the history of the world has been recycled. And actually pretty even lower here in Hawaii, about 6% of the plastics are recycled. And when I say recycled, we send things away to other countries to potentially be recycled, very little of which is actually recycled. I highly recommend checking out Plastic Wars or the Story of Plastic to learn a whole lot more on that topic. Baby, all right. Kahi, tell me about what's going on at the Bishop Museum. I hear there's an awesome new project happening there.
So yes, the Parley Air Station happening at the Bishop Museum, more or less the epicenter of Polynesian history. Right there, we've been invited to launch the world's first Parley Air Station, which is a collaborative hub, taking nonprofits like
Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii,
Zero Waste Oahu,
Nakamakai,
Bishop Museum,
and the Changing Tides Foundation.
There you go, yes. So at this Parley Air Station, we are upcycling marine plastics that wash up on our coastlines into products that we can use right here in Hawaii. We're making bricks.
Whoa, what do you mean bricks? Like Legos?
Well, no, like not toy Legos, more like a frickin' brick. Like you can build like a wall out of it. You know, these things are super strong.
So besides thanking you, who should we thank for the air station coming to fruition?
Well, you can take a little bit of credit. I'll give you some pedestal room there, but primarily we need to thank the people. You know, Hawaii is what really drove this factor. The opportunity at Bishop Museum, gotta thank the museum. Gotta thank the Frost Family Foundation. Gotta thank Bank of Hawaii. Gotta thank the Gift Foundation and the people that are donating on a daily basis to Parley and to Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii.
Every single dollar makes a difference, truly. I mean, these projects come together from big corporations, big foundations to literally you out there giving back to this cause. It's what makes us go.
And it wasn't just the money. You know, there were contractors that showed up, like the Dave Foster builders, they showed up and worked for nothing. You know, they obviously worked for the good vibes and the good karma that they got. I hope they all got barrels or maybe extra kisses from their wives or something. But, you know, there were contractors that showed up to help us build that thing on their own time.
Truly in the spirit of all the things that Sustainable Coastlines does, it takes the whole community, the village, whether it's musicians or sound technicians. There's so many people out there who give to making all the things that we do go.
Yeah, so a donation isn't always in the form of money.
Your time is a donation.
Oh, yeah.
Your time and your skills are donations.
Because time
is money.
So if they want to come to the Parley Air Station, you know, we've got talks at 10, 2, and 3 from Wednesday through Sunday from all types of different organizations, sunset sessions, movie screenings, talk stories, etc. Go to this cool code QR thing here. See it? You guys in post-production, you guys can do this, right? All right. See, they're nodding their head. This is right here, magic. Woo, it's floating. Quick, take a picture of it. So, Rafael.
Yep.
You know, a lot of the trash that we produce in Hawaii actually isn't trash. I know that a large percentage that goes to H-Power
Not
is...
H-Power again.
Okay, well, we're not going to dive into that deeply, okay? So take a deep breath. Actually, take another sip of your soda water there.
Thanks.
All right. So a lot of what is sent to H-Power could actually be turned into a very usable resource. Why don't you talk about how Sustainable Coastlines is working on taking that resource and utilizing it in an efficient manner?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things that we actually send to H-Power is food waste. And also those compostable containers that say they're compostable on them instead that we use instead of plastic. Well, a lot of them say breaks down only in an industrial composting facility. You know what that is, Kahi?
No, tell me, what is it, Rafael?
Well, an industrial composting facility actually gets to a certain heat that will break those things down into what it should be as compost. So we've got the first in-vessel composting machine in Hawaii right here on a farm in Waimanalo, launched for the first time this year, first time ever in Hawaii. And what can it do? It can break down those, it can take all that food waste and turn it into healthy soil.
That is absolutely beautiful. Because if you got healthy soil, what do you get?
Well, if you got healthy soil, then you can also grow healthy food. And one of the biggest problems we have here in Hawaii is most of our food is imported. What happens with imported food? It's also wrapped in plastic. So we make healthy soils, we make healthy food, we get rid of plastic. It's an awesome win-win-win-win.
What goes into this compost machine? What is food waste? And why is this compost machine so revolutionary for Hawaii?
Absolutely. So food waste, I mean, think about anything that's left over when you eat an orange peel, banana peel, all those containers that you think are compostable that are replacing the plastic cups, the plastic bags, the plastic takeout containers, all those ones that say breaks down in industrial composting facility only, we can now break them down here in Hawaii. So we're going to be taking them over to the farm in Waimanalo with Sean at Full Circle Farm and breaking them down in this revolutionary machine. It's got a big churning auger in the middle of it that moves all of the waste forward and backward and pumps out compost within a couple weeks, which actually speeds the process that it normally takes.
That's pretty cool. That's the second time we've talked about a revolutionary project in the very first Schnooze.
This is honestly what SCH does. It tries to break barriers, break boundaries, and innovate so that we can actually solve some of these really up problems that we have in the world. And who doesn't like compost? I mean, a lot of people
I don't know.
like compost.
There's a lot of people that don't like compost. I absolutely love it. Like it gets all hot and sweaty and steamy.
This machine is steamy. Let's go to Sean at Full Circle Farm to get schooled.
Compost! 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 What is it and how's it made? Well, we take the ingredients, the dry stuff and the wet stuff, the food waste and the mulch. In the right combination, it invites in the microbes, which are everywhere, into the pile. Now, just like when you're in the club and you're dancing and you're starting to sweat and you can feel that heat, that's what's happening in this pile. That's the heat. Woo! It's hot in there. It's turning into compost. Compost! Compost!
Coming back from that dude with tons of energy popping out like a weasel. Full Circle Farm making some damn good compost. Thanks, Sean, for that great story. What do we got to talk about next? Well, I'll tell you. Why don't you explain, with that beautiful smile of yours, why composting is something we talk about at a plastic pollution organization?
It started 8 years ago with the Triple Crown of Surfing, when you started the waste diversion program. We wanted to get waste out of these events where the goal was to have no trash at the end, right? We wanted to only have compost and recyclables left. And what we were left with was oftentimes these compostable containers that still ended up being trash. So we said, well, we've got all this compost, this food waste, and this compostable containers, let's actually turn it into compost. And back in the day, you and the team were grinding up food waste and PLA cups and a grinder and nasty piles and maggots and worms were all over the place. I mean, you know, it's fun, but we've evolved over the years, and this machine is our opportunity to turn the alternatives to plastic into something useful. And then on the back end of it, we get to help local food security. We are trying to get Oahu to, actually not just Oahu, Hawaii, the world, towards a decentralized composting system. So what does that mean? It means that we don't spend $1 billion creating something in the middle of this island that everybody has to drive to and take all their stuff to. We get these composting machines on every farm, every school, every hotel, every museum, and we have a network of composting so that people from the community can just bring their compostable containers to them. We can do pickups, whatever it is, but let's stop burning food waste and actually make something good out of it.
That's rad. So then the people could take that material that comes out of it at the end, take it home, and grow their own food?
Exactly. That's the other piece to it too, right? In 30 years, like, why can't Hawaii grow all of its own food? Because we've created such good soils here that there's no excuse not to.
Well, when you think about the history of the Hawaiian culture, which arguably was the most sustainable culture in the existence of man, we could sustain our current population if we just looked more sustainably about how we produce food.
100%. That gets back to this whole conversation of just knowing where your resources come from, thinking about every move that you make, and really just diving into that system of connecting to all of the things that we have around us in the world.
Well, we got to thank all the different organizations that actually even trusted us in the first place. You know, it actually started with the Wanderlust Festival, who more or less asked Turtle Bay, hey, you got anybody that does composting there? And there really wasn't anybody on island. So Turtle Bay contacted us and said, hey, do you guys know how to compost? And I was like, I got a compost pile in my backyard. I could figure it out. What do you guys need? So as a nonprofit organization just getting off the ground, the only word you need to know is yes. So we figured it out, became the specialist around composting, and then all of a sudden the WSL called us. And from there it's just snowballed into this beautiful program that we run that more or less eliminates people's waste when they host events.
It's awesome. I mean, Vans, Volcom, all the surf companies have reached out to us to do the same for events. We've been at Bishop Museum doing events there, weddings, birthday parties, whatever it is. Food and Wine Festival, we're looking at you to be our next clients. Anybody out there who needs these waste diversion programs at their events to not only just be more green, but to also really do what we're talking about and thinking about all those steps to making ourselves more sustainable.
You know what's silly? Like, I know we're dreaming right here, but wouldn't it be cool if every event that happened in Hawaii had a waste management plan that reduced waste before it was even created? And when it was actually created, then what are you going to do with it other than just put it in a bag and throw it in the garbage can? So the whole Green Mountain Technologies facility that is now on Full Circle Farms, which seems to be a tongue twister for me, was not just like provided, just didn't materialize. How did we get it there?
Yeah, it's been an amazing collaboration. I mean, Green Mountain Technologies themselves is an incredible company. They've worked with us hand in hand the whole time, providing technical support. They actually came out here and helped us set it up. Just awesome people at that company. And then to the sponsors that make it possible, 11th Hour Racing and the Frost Family Foundation for giving us grants to do it. Matson and Triple B, who helped us get the machine to island, not an easy task in itself. Revolution is helping us by putting a solar system on it to make it a truly sustainable system. And then just Full Circle Farm and Sean and Greg and everybody who's at that farm who are giving their knowledge and the space to make it happen, and honestly to show the world what's possible with this. So couldn't have done it without all of those people. We're excited to continue to build more relationships. Tell me something good.
Well, I think there's lots of good to be talked about. You know, we wouldn't be in this if we didn't believe that there was a solution. You know, by people coming together, not just focusing on reactive solutions, but more proactive solutions, we can tackle the problem of plastic pollution. I really think we're in a moment of time. We're gonna look back on this 100 years, we'll probably be dead. But our kids' kids and our kids will look back and look at our consumption of plastics as some kind of like archaic way of consuming. And we're just living in it. It's up to us to speed up that time that it takes. Otherwise, it might be too late.
It's true, and I'll tell you what, having been around all the students here in Hawaii and abroad, they get it. Plastic pollution, climate change, they're not political issues. They're part of problems that they have to solve for their future and that they're ready to solve and they want to solve and they see the opportunity to solve. So there is a ton of hope in front of us. I'm inspired every day. I know that after this Earth Day cleanup that we just had, to see people come back together after being cooped up for the last year, the energy that people get from serving, from giving, from just communicating with each other, it's powerful and it's going to make the changes that we need.
So how can people learn more about the Schnooze, about Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, about our collaborators? What do they do?
Check out our website, sustainablecoastlineshawaii.org. Follow us on Instagram, Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We got Coast Huggers on TikTok. I know you're going to love that one. But watch the Schnooze on YouTube. The biggest thing that you can do to help make this keep going, share it, comment on it. Let us know down in the comments what you want to see on the Schnooze. Give us an idea for a segment. And yeah, like I said, share it with the world. We want as many people's eyes on this as possible because that's how we're going to change.
So until the next Schnooze, get out into your community. Look at what you're finding when you do a cleanup. Recognize that those things might be the same things that you or your friends might use in your everyday lives. Stop using them.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of the Schnooze. I'm Rafael Bergstrom.
And I'm Kahi Pacarro.
And it's time for you to make the choice. You either snooze
Or Schnooze!
We'll see you next time.